ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Lórí WhatsApp. Àfíjù. Instagram. Àfíjù. Facebook. Àfíjù. Lórí X. Àfíjù. Lórí YouTube. Àfíjù. Lórí TikTok. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù.
Wherever you're listening or watching Radio Afinju, the time is 6 p.m.
Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Lórí WhatsApp. Àfíjù. Instagram. Àfíjù. Facebook. Àfíjù. Lórí X. Àfíjù. Lórí YouTube. Àfíjù. Lórí TikTok. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù.
Stay informed with news on Radio Afinju.
First, a look at the highlight. Bode George decries PDP governor's alleged defection. Pope Francis' funeral to be held on Saturday. Israeli strike south of Beirut kills commander in Sunni Islamist group. Good evening and welcome to the World News on Radio Afinju. My name is Tolulope Awoyale. The news in detail. A chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Bode George, has criticized former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for his recent visit to the former President Muhammadu Buhari at his residence in Kaduna State. George expressed his displeasure during an appearance on the television show. The former deputy national chairman of the party also dismissed the coalition agenda, stressing that it is a ploy to weaken the main opposition party. Recall that Atiku has been calling on opposition figures across the country to form a mega party that would challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027. His recent visit to the former president was also seen as an attempt to win over his coalition campaign.
What I am saying is that no individual in our party owns this party. Let these people sit down. Forget about your personal ambition. Your personal ambition, you know, is there any human being born by a woman that will not pass on one day? There will be an end. The only thing they will remember you for is your impact, positive impact to the development of the people. It is the will of the people that really matters, not your own personal aggrandizement. No. Look at General Buhari shaking hands with these guys. Is he a member of our party? We presented you against him, and he flogged you like a little kid, and then you are running there. And if you look at the congregation of those who visited Buhari, they are all from one side. Who are the others from our party? No, it's not done that way. In fact, my conclusion was, what is this man trying to do with this mega party? Is he trying to divide Nigeria from the north and then the south?
Accompanying Atiku to the meeting were former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, former governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, among others. In the meantime, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, leads to ensure that Nigerians in the diaspora vote during elections. Ganduje stated this while unveiling a new executive committee for the France chapter of the party in Paris. APC chairman emphasized the importance of unity among party members in the diaspora, stressing their role in supporting the administration's economic transformation efforts. Ganduje acknowledged that while the reform under President Bola Tinubu may seem as painful, they are necessary steps to reposition Nigeria's economy for sustainable growth. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Edwin Olufobroad, through active recruitment of members and mobilization. Scores of protesters stormed the office of the Attorney General of the Federation at the Federal Ministry of Justice headquarters in Abuja, demanding a probe of the immediate past Group Chief Executive Officer in Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari. The protesters, who were under aegis of Concerned Citizens Against Corruption, specifically called for an investigation into the company's transactions over the past 5 years. Led by its convener, Kabiru Matazu, the group said it was disappointed that despite President Bola Tinubu's removal of Kyari and the entire NNPCL board on April 2nd, 2025, no step has been taken to investigate alleged corrupt practices under Kyari's leadership. The group highlighted what it termed as controversies surrounding the rehabilitation and restreaming of government-owned refineries, citing allegations of billions of dollars spent without transparency. It further raised the issue of the NNPCL's alleged $2 billion indebtedness to Matrix Energy, with the debt allegedly served through daily crude oil allocations. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has flagged off the construction of a 7.1-kilometer terminus junction to Molai Express Road with a 6-span bridge at the state's fourth flyover along the busy post office area in Maiduguri. The project, designed to address increasing vehicular traffic, aimed to provide a seamless route for commuters and goods and significantly enhance access to key economic zones, schools, and healthcare facilities. With an estimated completion timeline of 8 and 10 months, the project are expected to create hundreds of jobs for skilled and unskilled workers, further contributing to the state's economic and recovery and resilience efforts. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a 7.1-kilometer terminus Molai Express Road along Tashan Kano, Zulum said the project is not only for beautification but also to accommodate the increasing population growth in Maiduguri. A Kano High Court has sentenced one Sajir Riyaj Zaki, 22-year-old, to death by hanging for stabbing his stepmother Rabiatu Sajir and strangling his daughter Munawara with scarves to death. Rajiv Zaki, who lives in Kutama village, Gwarazo local government area of Kano, was convicted of culpable homicide. Delivering judgment, Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu held that the prosecution had proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt and therefore sentenced the convict to death by hanging. Earlier, the prosecution counsel Lamido Abbas Sorodonki presented 2 witnesses and tendered exhibits to prove their case against the defendant. The convict, however, denied committing the offense. Away from Nigeria, the Economic Community of the West African State members will meet in Ghana to discuss the withdrawal of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. The meeting will take place over 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. The bloc in a statement said member states will discuss the modalities of the country's withdrawal and its implications for ECOWAS agencies in the country. The bloc also said it will set up a structure to facilitate discussions on the modalities which each of the three countries. Reports said ECOWAS member states will, however, be discussing their relationship with three countries today in Accra. Burkina Faso's military government has said it foiled a major plot to overthrow junta leader Ibrahim Traore, with army alleging the plot were based in neighboring Ivory Coast. Security Minister Mahamadou Sana said the coup was attempts led by current and former soldiers working with terrorist leaders, adding to the intention was to attack the presidential palace last week. It sees the latest several claims of attempt to remove the junta leader who seized power in 2002 amid increasing militant attack. Burkina Faso, like Sahel neighbors, has been battling armed jihadist group with an estimated 40% of the country under their control. In Asia, at least 5 tourists were found dead and 8 people injured after suspected militants opened fire at them in Indian Kashmir region, the worst of such attack in the territory in nearly a year. The attack took place in Pahalgam, a popular destination in the scenic Muslim-majority territory that draws thousands of visitors every summer as militant violence has reduced in recent years. Hospital officials said the injured has been rushed to a local hospital. The Himalayan region, which is claimed in full but ruled in parts both by India and Pakistan, has been rolled by militant violence since the start of an anti-Indian insurgency in 1989. Tens of thousands of people have been killed, although violence was tapered off in recent years. Attack targeting tourists in Kashmir have been rare in recent years, but not unknown. Still in Asia, a plan to build a nuclear power plant will continue in Myanmar, a war-torn Southeast Asian country partly devastated by a massive earthquake in March. Myanmar's junta chief Min Aung Hlaing and Russian President Vladimir Putin last month signed an agreement for a small-scale nuclear facility 3 weeks before the 7.7 magnitude quake flattened communities and left more than 3,700 people dead, the country's deadliest natural disaster indicates. The agreement involved cooperation to build a small modular reactor in Myanmar with an initial 110 megawatt capacity consisting of 2 55 megawatt reactors manufactured by Russia's state nuclear corporation Rosatom. The company's intention to go ahead with the nuclear plan despite the quake, which crippled critical infrastructure, has not been previously reported. In Europe, Roman Catholic cardinals have decided Pope Francis' funeral will be held on Saturday in St. Peter's Square, setting the stage for a solemn ceremony that will draw leaders from around the world. Francis, 88 years old, died on Monday after suffering a stroke with cardiac arrest, ending an often turbulent reign in which he repeatedly clashed with traditionalists and championed the poor and marginalized. The pontiff spent 5 weeks in hospital earlier this year, suffering from double pneumonia and had appeared to be slowly recovering, but the Vatican recounted his last moments, saying death came quickly and he had not suffered. The Vatican's official media channel said he started to feel unwell at around 5:30 a.m. on Monday and was promptly attended to by his team. More than an hour later, he made a gesture of farewell to his ever-present nurse, Massimiliano Strapetti, and slipped into a coma. His body will be taken into the adjacent St. Peter's Basilica on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. in a procession led by cardinals, allowing the faithful to pay their last respect to the first Latin American Pope. His funeral service will be held in St. Peter's Square in the shadow of the Basilica on Saturday at 10 a.m. and will be presided over by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re and the 91-year-old Dean of the College of the Cardinals. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said landmark ruling the legal definition of a woman under equality laws should be based on biological sex, provided much needed clarity and clear position to underpin gender policies. The harmful implication on both legal and practical level, and could lead to trans people being excluded from part of the society. A Supreme Court stressed that the Equality Act afforded trans people, whether trans women or men, protecting against discrimination or harassment. Starmer has previously struggled to adopt a clear position on the definition of the woman amid the complex debate around gender and the rights of trans women and biological women. In the Americas, United States President Donald Trump, who clashed repeatedly with the Pope about immigration, said he and his wife will fly to Rome for the service. Similarly, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and First Lady Janja Lula da Silva will travel to Rome to attend Pope Francis' funeral, the Brazilian government said in a statement on Monday. The confirmation of the date depends on the Vatican protocol, the government said. It was gathered that earlier on Monday, Lula declared Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is set to announce a ban on certain artificial food dyes in the United States. Kennedy plans to announce the phasing out of petroleum-based synthetic dyes as a major step forward in the administration's effort to make America healthy again, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. No exact date for the changes were provided, but HHS said Kennedy would announce more details at a news conference later today. The dyes, which are found in dozens of foods, including breakfast cereals, candy, snacks, and beverages, have been linked to neurological problems in some children. The move comes after the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) earlier this year banned one dye, Red Dye 3, from U.S. food and pharmaceuticals starting in 2027, citing its link to cancer in animal studies. California banned the dye in 2023. In the Middle East, an Israeli drone strike south of the Lebanese capital has killed a top commander from militant group Jama Islamiyah, Hussein Atawi, in an attack later confirmed by Israel. According to the Israel Defense Forces (IDF), Atawi was involved in planning and advancing terrorist activities from Lebanon into Israeli territory, targeting the IDF soldiers on the northern border. A Jama Islamiyah statement said, Atawi, a leading commander in the armed forces branch of the Sunni Islamist Jama Islamiyah, known as Fajr Forces, was killed as he drove from his home to his office in Beirut. Recall the Fajr Forces fired rockets across Lebanon's southern border at Israel throughout a year-long war that ended last year in a ceasefire deal. Israeli airstrikes killed several of the group's members during the conflict. Now talking sport, the nationwide League One NLO has suspended Usman Kabir from participating in the 2025 season. Kabir was accused of previously registering with the Mumbivia FC Kano for the 2023 and 2024 season under the name Abati Gola. The player's suspension was announced by NLO Secretariat, which stated that he provided false information during the registration process with Camp PRO FC. According to the NLO, the action violates its framework, which requires that players' full names be accurately provided during registration. Reports gathered that 2025 season commenced last week with the clash between the Hyperbus FC and Like Mind FC in Abuja. The game ended 1-1. Still on sport, Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has named Kylian Mbappe and Fernand Mendy as two players that will miss his side's La Liga clash with Getafe on Wednesday. Speaking at his pre-match press conference, Ancelotti also said that the duo will be available to play against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final on Saturday night. The Los Blancos head to the Getafe match following a 1-0 win against Athletic Club on Sunday. Ancelotti's side have been league leaders Barcelona with 4 points after 32 matches. Madrid are out of the UEFA Champions League this season. Before we go, here again are the highlights. A chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Bode George, has criticized former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for his recent visits to former President Muhammadu Buhari at his residence in Kaduna State. In Europe, Roman Catholic cardinals have decided Pope Francis' funeral will be held on Saturday in St. Peter's Square, setting the stage for a solemn ceremony that will draw leaders from around the world. In the Middle East, an Israeli drone strike south of the Lebanese capital has killed a top commander from militant group Jamal Islamiyah, Hussein Attawi, in an attack later confirmed by Israel. That was the world news on Radio Afinju. To view our channel, please follow Radio Afinju on Facebook, X, and YouTube. The news was edited by Stella Adiranti. My name is Tolulope Awoyale. Thanks for listening. Good evening.
Bàbá aláìyá yín rè o àfínjú àdárìn pọ̀ sùnú lórí rédíò àfínjú má gbé kó ń bẹ́ o ẹ̀já jọ máa gbọ́.
Maka akụkọ